Senate grills Mr. President's controversial nominee for INEC National Commissioner. Again, Mr. President gets approval for a fresh loan request. Plus, House of Representatives denies report of changes in the Electoral Amendment Bill.
Speculation, assumptions, they lead to misinformation.
We'll hear from the spokesman of the House on the matter. This is the Hallowed Chambers. I am Jesu Adiri. The fate of one of President Buhari's nominee for National Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission still hangs in the balance after the Committee on INEC screened her along with 5 nominees. Loretta Onochie is accused of carrying a baggage of a perceived loyalty to the All Progressives Congress and as such should not be allowed to serve in the country's Electoral Commission. But she insists she has ceased to be a member of the APC and has no political affiliation. Her screening caused an outburst from lawmakers opposed to her nomination and others strongly backing her candidacy.
From 2019, after the president was elected for the second term, my duty in politics was ended and it stopped. And I didn't, nobody, the media, they are here, none of them can say they have, prior to then, I was on every TV, I was on radio, I was writing for newspapers, I was everywhere, but from 2019, none of them would say they have seen me in their station. I have stayed away from all those things, just concerned with supporting Mr. President.
That if, for any reason, your nomination gets confirmed by this Senate, that you are a senator of all eyes. On the other hand, if for any reason the nomination does not get confirmed by the Senate, you still owe the world some explanation. But as a senator and as a lawyer, I know that the documents here do not in any way give us or give me as a senator a ground to say she must not be confirmed. The nomination should not be confirmed. And what do I mean by this? You were accused of being a member of APC, a carrying member of the party, which would have been a violent violation of the clear provisions of our Constitution. It is not the stage for the nominee to take an oath. There is time for it. If eventually she's screened and cleared, at the time she's been appointed, then she will subscribe to the oath as prescribed in the Constitution.
Sorry, sir.
You will only put somebody on oath in a committee if we were having, if there was an investigation. We're not investigating. It's not an investigative hearing. We're only screening, raising issues. In fact, asking questions based on issues she herself raised. And these things are documented, they are legal matters, and I believe that after hearing from her, when we retreat and we sit as a committee, we can evaluate what she has said, vis-a-vis the evidence we have, and we take a decision.
Nigeria's debt profile has risen to over 35 trillion naira after the Senate approved Mr. President's fresh loan request of $6.1 billion. Also, there was an approval of 982.7 billion naira supplementary budget.
A sum of 859 billion, 397 million, 521,179 naira only is for contribution to the Development Fund for capital expenditure for the year ending on the 31st December 2021. Conclusion. On behalf of the Appropriation Committee, I wish to respectfully thank the Senate President and the entire leadership of the Senate, and indeed the entire distinguished senators for the support given to the committee.
Recommendation 1, that the Senate do approve the request of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for the issuance of $3 billion, but not more than $6,103,081,643 US dollars and 40 cents Eurobond in the international capital market for the implementation of the new external borrowing of 2,343,387,942,848 naira only for the financing of part of the deficit authorized in the 2021 Appropriation Act. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The Electoral Act Amendment Bill has ruffled some feathers among interest groups in the country. Now lawmakers are accused of tinkering with the aspect that has to do with electronic transmission of results. The House leadership has also made efforts to clear the air.
It has been alleged that electronic transfer or transmission of results have been removed. It's been alleged that this amount of money is the amount allocated for elections and not the rest of them. While it is your right to ask these questions, while it remains your right to express yourself, expression of ourselves should be based on knowledge. And any member speaking to a bill that has not been presented before the House is speaking without the required facts and knowledge. How we operate is that the committee, having been asked to handle this particular piece of legislation, owes Nigerian people the duty of presenting this piece of legislation before the National Assembly for what we call Committee of the Whole consideration. You've been here too long to understand how we operate. And until that report goes from the committee to the committee or to the House, even before the consideration, because the House will refer it to the Committee of the Whole for clause-by-clause consideration, until it goes from the committee, where it is as we speak, to the House, it is not an official document that anyone could refer to. Therefore, it remains a hasty conclusion.
At TVC Communications, we're all about our audience. Millions of viewers, listeners, and readers every day all around Nigeria.
Our 2 TV stations are among the most watched in Nigeria.
TVC News is our award-winning 24-hour national and international news channel headquartered here in Lagos, broadcasting live from our custom-built state-of-the-art news headquarters.
TVC, the top-rated family entertainment channel, is the place for fun, music, and information.
With news bureau and studios around the country and the ability to go live anywhere, anytime, we are first for breaking news in Nigeria. Awarded the NMMA TV Station of the Year, TVC News is the station of choice for news that...
And when you can't watch us, listen to us. 102.3 Max FM Lagos and 90.9 Max FM Abuja are now ranked among the most listened to radio stations in Nigeria.
In Lagos, TVC, our leading family entertainment TV channel, has a 47% market share. But this is just the start of our journey, as we plan to add even more services to entertain and inform our ever-growing audience. Thanks for being part of the TVC Communications story.
Joining us to put issues into perspective and give us updates on the status of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill is Honorable Benjamin Kalu, spokesman of the House of Representatives. It's good to have you on the program. What is your take on the controversy surrounding the Electoral Act Amendment Bill report?
Like I've always said, speculation, assumptions, they lead to misinformation. And just like in the public parlance, they call it fake news. What feeds fake news is this kind of assumption. I said so because people are speaking up too soon. I know that Nigerians have the freedom of expression, but such expression should be found on knowledge, on facts. At the moment, the document that is being referred to is not before the Parliament. And it will be unfair to slice the Parliament on issues that is not before it. And also, it is not fair for Nigerians to preempt the Parliament, to think in a particular way, or to bully the Parliament. If you have seen any reports from any source unknown to us, we are only waiting for the report from the committee we have assigned to do this job. And it is in order, in line with parliamentary practice, that after a committee is done with their job, they report back to the House, and such reports will be referred to the Committee of the Whole, which is greater, which has more power than the committee that did the report. So until that is laid, Nigerians should not be hasty in their assumptions and conclusions. I urge them to wait till next week. Hopefully the report will be laid. I've interacted with the chairman of this committee, and they are doing the final touches on their report, which will be laid and considered by next week.
Where then did the report that is circulating emanate from?
It's a difficult question that you're asking, because I don't work for the security agencies to be able to investigate the source of any document. If a document has been manipulated, tampered with, or generated from any source, there is no way for me to know. That I'm a member of the Parliament and I speak for the Parliament doesn't make me omniscient, all-knowing. I can only speak to the document that is before the Parliament. And I'm saying, at the moment, it doesn't matter what the member said, it doesn't matter who assumed what they assumed. The issue remains that that document is yet to be presented to the Nigerian House of Representatives. And once it is presented, we will be on the lookout, like most of our constituents have instructed us to look out for certain clauses that they are concerned about, and to ensure that what we do in that piece of legislation reflects the actual desires and hunger of every Nigerian. And that is what we'll be looking out for. And I can assure Nigerians that during the clause-by-clause consideration, if something had been injected into the bill against what we are expecting, that is a room for us to debate it. It is not the final stage of the lawmaking. It goes through the whole 9 yards, and this is just one of it. There is still room to garbage something out and to garbage something in. So heating up the polity now and painting the government bad is actually uncalled for.
Are you saying the House is most likely to endorse electronic transmission of election results in the bill?
Like I said, we cannot speak to that document because it is not before us. If it is before us, we'll look at whatever proposal that document presents and we'll be able to take the best position that reflects the desires of those who have sent us here. We have the mandate of our people to look at the bill in a particular way. That is what every representative have gotten from their constituents, and I'm sure that that is what is going to be used as a tool in structuring that piece of legislation.
Why was it difficult for the two chambers to pass a harmonized report of the PIB?
The beauty of the kind of legislature we practice, which is bicameral legislative system, is that it offers the Parliament the opportunity to always have a second look on the issues raised by one chamber and before another chamber, vice versa, Senate to House, House to Senate. but also the demerit of a bicameral legislative system when compared to unicameral system is that there is slow passage of bills. We opted for quality passage system of passing bills over speedy passage of bills. If we wanted only speedy passage of bills, we would take unicameral. Since we have embraced bicameral, it comes with this challenge of making sure that what is being cooked by the parliament is a soup that will be eaten by all and sundry. Now, having said that, a joint committee met over the PIB, and there was a harmonized report, like you said, of 5%. Granted that such harmonization reflects the position of the parliament, but not conceding that such harmonization still has to go through the pruning fork of either the House or the Senate through what they call the consideration of clause by clause. And on the basis of that, parliamentary practice expects that the report of the Joint Committee be laid before the House, sitting in a whole, committee of the whole, the same way it expects it to be laid before the Senate, sitting also in their committee of the whole. It opens up the report for debate. If there are issues that we overlooked in the course of the report, joint report, there is a freedom for any member of either chamber to raise such issue for debate. And as always, any issue that goes into debate will always have the majority against the minority on that issue. We were able to manage ours in the House of Representatives. We accepted the joint report, and we considered and approved the joint report, except one particular clause that we were not comfortable with, which was an additional 2% to the 5% that was approved, which was going to make it 7%. The chairman of the committee moved a motion to have it expunged from the bill. I was the seconder to that motion for it to be expunged, because I didn't want any excuse that would delay us further. Let's stick to the 5% from the joint committee. The different story came out of the Senate, because there were some senators who felt otherwise. The 5% was much on the IOCs, and said let's reduce it to 3%. At the end of the day, it was approved by the Senate. But as you know, and you have pointed out, there is a conference, for harmonization that is going on as we speak. At the end of that conference, we'll be able to know the position of the National Assembly, no longer the House or the Senate. And that is the position of our rules. Our rule says once there is a discrepancy when it comes to concurrence of both houses, the conference committee should sit and do the final harmonization. So let's wait for what will come out from there. I know it's taking time, but I'm sure it will be finalized before we go on our vacation.
Why do we have so many dissenting voices in condemnation of the PIB the two chambers considered last week?
Of course. You see, when we started oil exploration and production from 1958, and in 1969, we thought it wise to come up with Petroleum Act. From that time to when the National Assembly started looking at the possibility of reviewing that particular piece of legislation, which was in 2008. You could see it was about 39 years. And from that 39 years, 2008, of that piece of legislation till now, the PIB that was meant to be used to cure the gaps that exist in the obsolete, archaic Petroleum Act that is no longer useful to the dynamics in the industry, has failed severally. And now the Ninth Assembly put it on their legislative agenda as one of the things that they will do before the end of this Ninth Assembly. The commitment is there, and we have shown that we can walk the talk, not just talking the talk. We are proud of what we have achieved so far. The reason being that there is no perfect law made by man anywhere. Even that which is made by God is being questioned. The Ten Commandments is being questioned time and again by people on why it should be there and not the other way around. So you see, if men, mere mortal, could question a piece of legislation made by heavenly legislature under the supervision of the Creator, God Himself, who are we to make laws that will not be questioned by Nigerians? We expect the questioning by Nigerians. But you see, there is always a room for amendment of a legislation that has not covered all the ground, because no legislation does. Nigerians, in recognition of the amendment opportunity clause in our laws, and in recognition of the fact that it is the role of the legislature to make laws, and we make laws either by creating new ones or amending existing ones, they should be confident that the legislature will make effort to amend provisions of this law or any other law that does not serve the purpose for which it was made to cure in the society.
Nigerians complain of the nation's external debt, yet the parliament is approving more loans for the government. Are we not mortgaging the nation's future? And why the jack-up in the supplementary budget passed?
In running a government and knowing what we are passing through with regards to inflation, as well as how our currency is trading in the forex market, it's very obvious even to a layman that our affordability strength for product and services has been reduced, has been impacted by what we have faced recently. Therefore, to fulfill the objective of government, which is providing dividends of democracy to the people, if a gap is created, it is the responsibility of government to find a way to bridge that gap and subsequently remedy or fulfill the obligation from wherever they got the money to serve. Nigerians are not interested just that the economy has gone so bad. They're interested in making sure that government fulfills her purpose by stimulating the economy back to shape. So the borrowing is not for entertainment. We approve it because we know that this borrowing will help to stimulate the economy towards the right direction. The infrastructure, the insecurity we are faced with, the health challenges that the country is going through, that COVID exposed, with this additional financial assistance coming on board, it will help the economy to spring up, and before you know it, we'll be back to shape. Remember, this government in its early days was helped through its partnership with the parliament to come out of recession. This economic challenge as well, we're giving every support that is expected of us in every level of collaboration to make sure that the executive, which is part of the government that we are part of, because I always say, though we are three arms of government, we are one government. The failure of the executive is the failure of the legislature, and we must see it like that at all times. And having that at the back of our mind, we should look for partnerships, we should look for synergy, we should look for support that will make the government succeed. That was what we did just today and yesterday.
That's it on our program this week. You can watch repeat episodes on TVC News and also subscribe to our YouTube channel to get updates and new information from the National Assembly. Thank you for watching. See you next time.